As you see, it's just 5 points. The big question, what are the issues that will get voters to the polls? It was up as high as 15. Here to debate is Trump 2020 campaign re-election senior advisor Katrina Pierson and radio talk show host Jamila Bey. Jamila, for you, are you surprised after that Pennsylvania result, the stunning result in Pennsylvania that went Democrats' way, that the generic ballot is just 5 right now?
I actually was surprised at that. However, I have to admit that after 2016, I really think that Americans need to recognize that anything can happen and that pollsters are not the final arbiters of what is the will of the people. So while Democrats can be very happy to say, oh, well, look at Pennsylvania, look at Alabama, look at the fact that, you know, there's this groundswell of support, there are 25 seats that Pennsylvanians have to defend in the Senate, whereas Republicans have 8 seats.
Yeah.
Just statistically, the work is harder for a Democrat right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Katrina, you know all about defying the odds. However, right now the momentum seems to be in the Democrats' camp. How does the president reverse that, being that his popularity ratings are actually going up while the party is staying stagnant?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. The party is the one that really needs to step up its game. The president's going to do everything that he can to maintain the House and the Senate. We know a lot of times when you see this kind of momentum, it doesn't necessarily turn into votes. It's going to be a case-by-case basis. A lot of the voters in the base and a lot of those who turned out for Donald Trump are looking at these individuals who are currently in office and asking themselves a couple of questions. One of them being is, did you vote for the tax cuts, number one? Number two is, are you supporting the president's agenda to keep America safe? And number three, are you supporting the president's agenda to bring back jobs, to support the economy and raise wages? And I think a lot of people are going to have trouble answering that question in November.
Jamila, a lot of people, a lot of the Democrats in Republican-won states are sounding as if they agree with Donald Trump on a lot of issues. And you have Conor Lamb, who disagrees with Nancy Pelosi. I won't vote for her on other issues. Do you have a problem with this chameleon-like approach?
I think the chameleon-like approach is the necessary approach. Staying lockstep ideologically when factors are changing around you is really unwise to do. I know this is a debate, but I think Katrina really did hit the nail on the head, explaining that momentum right now does not necessarily translate into votes. That's why when you see the march that these young kids had on Saturday, when you see a lot of the literature that's going into the homes of voters, it's remind your friends to come out and vote. Are you registered? Will you show up?
Yep.
Because a lot of this has to do with people's day-to-day lives and jobs, and the welfare of the American family is at the heart of all of this matter. So policy matters,
Jamila, I just do
voting,
think I understand. Yeah. I think you should vote how you run. That's my big problem. How do people supposed to trust the person they're voting for if they're going to say anything to get elected? Katrina, this is the one thing the Republicans should keep in mind. The Democrats had a 2-point edge in 2014. The Democrats had a 2-point edge. The Republicans picked up 13 House seats. In 2010, the Republicans had a 4-point advantage. They picked up 63 House seats. A lot on the table, real quick.
Well, there is a lot on the table, and if we're looking at Pennsylvania to be a marker, Conor Lamb ran essentially as a Republican and against his party's leadership. So moving forward, I think Republicans are going to have to understand they need to get behind Trump and pass his agenda, because their voters are not going to be forgiving if they continue to thwart his agenda. And the president has been very clear. He needs to maintain the House and maintain the Senate if he's going to accomplish all of those goals. So Republicans need to get in line and understand that for their own sakes.
Jamila, Katrina, great debate, kinda, and thanks for agreeing a little bit. Gave us a little less heartburn this morning. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, coming up straight ahead, you love him as Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump. You love still him on CSI. Now Gary Sinise has a huge announcement about how he's helping the children of our fallen heroes. He joins us next. But first, let's check in with Bill Hemmer, who's also a nice guy.
How are you, Brian? Most days anyway. I see you on a Monday morning. Breaking news overnight. Several missiles fired on a world capital. We'll have the fallout from that coming up here. Stormy Daniels has spoken, raising a number of questions. We will try and answer many of them today. Also, that Texas bomber left a video message. Mike McCall has watched it. He's here live. And how did an American family of 4 die in Mexico? Join Sandra and me. We'll see you in 10 minutes.